Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. Second time today, Mr. Hammer. You're too much, please. You are way, way, way too generous. Anyway, got a lot of mind-blowing, mind-expanding news today in OCTA. It's Tuesday. Crypto market cap is $2.7 trillion. I mean, we literally just went above a trillion not too long ago. It's madness. I think I shared something on Twitter earlier today that the crypto market cap has gone up 2.1 times in 21 weeks, which is very, very, very big move. Volume $150 billion. Dominance 51%. Crypto fear and greed 81%. And we will talk about ETH today. People say, can you talk more about ETH? Yeah, I sure can, because everybody's excited about the Dencun upgrade. And I'll talk that it's not maybe what you expect. Is it better or worse? And let's jump in. Today's video is always brought to you by caffeinated beverages. So cheers, everybody. And this is, of course, edutainment. And another one from the team here. Thank you for sharing these. Chris Williams, new to Patreon membership. Looking forward to learning more. Welcome in. Welcome to drinking from the fire hose, as I say. Now, people have wanted me to start with the bad news, the ugly news. Ugly, bad, then finish on a high note. Good news. And that's what I'm going to do from now on. Because you guys don't want to leave negative. Which makes complete sense, actually. First of all, let's start with the unlocks this week. Big unlocks from some of the usual names. Aptos, Cyber, Flow, Arbitrum, Ape, Cadena, new on the list, Algo, etc. But, you know, you wouldn't be in those things anyway. I doubt you would if you watch this channel. And another bit of ugly news, too. Unfortunately, Biden rekindles the 30% miner tax, you know, in a maybe, I don't know if it's a idea to shut down all Bitcoin mining or shut down Bitcoin in the United States at all, or just find ways for other revenue. But this is reminiscent of what China did. And please don't let the US be like China. Let's not do that. Let's let free markets work. Let's let the miners use stranded energy that would otherwise go to waste. Let miners stabilize the grid in places like Texas, where it's very much required. Again, no more government overreach. Can somebody whisper in these politicians' ears exactly how good mining is for the grid? And how, if you just tax them to death, you're going to send all the US miners offshore and you're going to let the rest of the world take over. We don't want that. Come on. Free markets, everybody. Come on. And I said this morning in another video is that, you know, Bitcoin and politics are intertwined. That's an example. I don't want to talk about politics, but they are somehow. Now, this has hit miners hard. Unfortunately, you got Mawson down 12%, Sphere 6%, BTBT 5%, DMGI 4%, Wolf 3.6%, Iris 3%, DigiHost, etc. I mean, they all got clobbered. Some a little less than others. And of course, MicroStrategy keeps going through the moon. In fact, I got some breaking news from MicroStrategy. I'll share it tomorrow in Bitcoin's video, Bitcoin specific. But it's just so much happening. It's incredible. And this session today is 60 nuggets. Now, reminders, they're beaten down. But markets are irrational. Look at this. This is from Blockware magazine, I think it is. Miner revenue just hits a new all-time high. We'll talk a lot about new all-time highs in this video. A lot about flippenings, more flippenings. It's crazy. A visual of how much money these Bitcoin miners are making. They're making the most from into the block. To verify the data, Bitcoin miner revenue daily, 7-day moving average, and a ton of it is subsidies. They are making money hand over fist, ladies and gentlemen. This is reminiscent of the crazy ordinal times, late 2023, if you can remember back that far. I hardly can, but anyway. The miner quarterly Q1 earnings are going to be to the moon, and CleanSpark stands to make the most because they do it most efficiently. So again, this is what's called a buying opportunity. We get them all the time because people are just, I don't know, they got no vision. Now, CPI, we're still in the ugly news, everybody. Sorry for being in here. There is quite a bit of ugly news. CPI sucks, and the Fed do not control it. I've always said that. Car insurance inflation, 20.6%. Sorry for everybody that doesn't have Tesla insurance. Transportation inflation, 9.9%. Car repair inflation, 6.7%. Hospital services inflation, 6.1%. Homeowner inflation, 6%. Rent inflation, 5.8%. Food away from home inflation, 4.5%. By the way, cook at home, everybody, it's healthier. And electricity inflation, 3.6%. But not if you're in California. It's more like 36%. Anywho, moving on. Sadly, all of this stuff is causing record hardship. I did warn you it's the ugly session. And shout out to Sanjay as well for sharing this from Wall Street Journal just a few minutes ago. A record number of Americans are taking hardship withdrawals from their 401k. For those of you outside of America, that's like a pension fund, retirement fund, ISA, CSA, superannuation, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are in the world. And I'm sure it's happening in your neck of the woods too. This figure has nearly doubled over the last 4 years. 40% of these hardship withdrawals are to avoid real estate foreclosure. People are out of money. Okay? It's an ugly situation. I'm warning people about no credit card debt. Lock in low interest rates since 2021 if you can. Now, poop is going to hit the fan, and it's a sad situation. Now, bad news. Not as bad as the ugly news, and sorry to start off in such a negative tone, but everybody needs to be aware of what's going on in the world. So exchanges, be like, thank you very much. Tweeted this earlier today. Just how the wick on Bitcoin wrecks the leverage longs. And this is a screenshot from a while ago. It's over $400 million taken in the last 24 hours. And in 12 hours, 300 million, etc. Much of it on the long side. Those saying, oh, we're going to go to the moon. Yeah, we are going to go to the moon. But when you're leveraged long and you've got a very tight level of margin, they're going to wick you down a couple of $1,000s and take your cash. So everybody, please stop messing with leverage. And in the Dencun news, a lot of people on Ethereum are very excited. This is the biggest Ethereum release since the merge. And that means move to proof of stake. Now, a lot of people are saying, yeah, great, it's going to be fast, and it's going to be cheap, and it's going to be scalable, and everything else. It's like, no, it's going to be pretty much the same. So the Ethereum mainnet fees will still be the same. Yes, some of the layer 2 stuff will fall a little bit, but still nothing like some other competing chains that are a lot cheaper. But the problem that I've always said, layer 2s have a whole host of different issues. And a shout out to Mert as well for the inspiration for this. These are some of the things that I see and some of the things that he sees too. So don't shoot the messenger here. But the stance on the ETH layer 2 flaws. A lot of people think, well, they're going to be like 20%, 80% cheaper after Dencun. But still, some of these layer 2s still have outages. They still have maintenance shutdowns. They still have very high gas fees. And they have that loss of finality as well. They also have a single point of failure. They're very vulnerable to attacks. They have technical flaws like off-chain proofs, IOU finality issues, siloed liquidity, and bridge risk. L2s are band-aids, and they don't do a good job stemming the blood. So, again, for those of you who think it's going to be an amazing event, and I own some Ethereum, but I'll always be open and honest. If I hold something and it's poop, and there's some bad news or news that isn't as good as expected, I'll always share that with you all. But I do believe Dencun, when it does release, it could be a very big sell the news event. I almost got that backwards. All right, what else is happening? Coinbase. And ironically, this is from ETH Gems Alert. Stan More Wealth in New Zealand. Hello, Team New Zealand. Good morning to you. It's Wednesday where you are. But Coinbase suffers multiple outages this year. And per ETH Gems Alert, because we were just talking about Ethereum, I thought it was very appropriate. Coinbase had 3 years to prepare for this bull market. And still somehow they messed it up. Yeah, they did. And related to that, Cathie Wood is selling Coinbase. She sold $69 million of coin share just yesterday. So that'll put a bit of downward pressure on it. But remember, Coinbase is still making a lot of money on the dump it from Grayscale into BlackRock and other ETFs. So they're still making some good money there. And a last piece, I think, of bad news is 22.66% of shares from MicroStrategy are short. Shout out to the shorts who are about to get their shorts destroyed, and they're deeply underwater. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist like Sailor to know that they're going to be forced to capitulate. And this will send the stock to the moon. And shout out to Bitcoin Munger as well that shared this. This is, again, I've got to do more research on the psyche of humans and identify that degen gene. People just love to gamble. Love to gamble and get right. Camicor is out there in Australia. Oh, wow. The Australians and the New Zealanders are up. And Tony Brent in Denmark. I love seeing people from all over the world. Thank you so much for coming. Now, the good news. Lots of good news. First of all, let's look at the crypto market stats. As I mentioned at the beginning, crypto market cap is up 2.1x in 21 weeks, which is kind of mind-blowing. We're now at a $2.724 trillion market cap, up from 1.3. Daily active users have nearly doubled to nearly 10 million. Remember, the goal is to get 100 million into crypto daily active users. That means there'll probably be about 1 billion monthly active users, and that means we go into the S-curve of adoption. Big time. We're not far off it, ladies and gentlemen, which is exciting. Transactions, 60 million versus 40. Not up as much, because transactions are, as we shared here, still expensive for many people, but there's chains that have a solution to that as well. Now, another great news as well, crypto adoption. And again, I had to tip the Sanjay for this one, that just came through, breaking news. The pace of digital asset adoption exceeds other breakthrough technologies like mobile phones and internet to get to this level. The time to achieve over 300 million users. Remember, we're at 300 million, but not daily. I want us to get to 100 million daily. That'll get us to 1 billion monthly. But it's still massive. It's still big. And we are there. There is no, I haven't used this term in a while. There's no putting crypto back in the toothpaste tube. It's out. It's being adopted. You can't stop it. And the whole video this morning was about how everybody's capitulating into Bitcoin. It just sucks everything in like a black hole. We'll talk more about black holes in a minute too. Fear and greed is still at extreme greed, but it's kind of stable at 81, slightly down from when I did this a week ago, but not bad. And Bitcoin left in exchanges also down. Speaking of things that are down, record down. Binance only have 546,000 Bitcoin left. Bitfinex 387,000. Coinbase 358,000. There's not a whole heck of a lot left on exchanges, everybody, which is good. Safer to self-custody or lock them away somewhere. And remember what's happening in a couple of days. 36 days to go till the halving, or only 5 more OCTAs. Is that 5? Yeah. Madness. I estimate the halving will happen on a Wednesday or Thursday, so we'll be able to squeeze an OCTA in. Maybe it'll be a pre-halving special with champagne and all sorts of fun stuff. Bitcoin monthly returns so far in the month of March, we are up. Whoa, that looks wrong. How did that get screwed up? That should be a lot higher. That should be 14 or 15%. Anyway, that is an automated table that has a bug because it's not updating automatically. So, but ignore that March number. Let's look at what happened over the last week. It's the 12th of March today. This is the crypto market cap divided by Bitcoin over the last 7 days. And you can see, of course, Bitcoin's always flat. ETH beat Bitcoin by 4.76%. Sol beat Bitcoin. XRP beat Bitcoin a bit. Avalanche beat it dark green. Avalanche has been on a run. So has Binance. And so has Toncoin. We'll talk about that as well. Tron down red. Doge down red. VeChain down red as well. Kaspa, Sheep. And it's funny because the meme coins had a blistering week last week. Everything mean reverts when something pumps. That's why I say don't chase, you replace, because by the time you jump on the pump, it's going to dump. I didn't mean for that to rhyme as well. Let's look at the crypto market over the last 7 days. Bitcoin, $71,517, up 4.68% for the week. Not bad. ETH, up 10%, but it actually fell $100 just in the last hour or so. They must have heard I was going to talk about it. Avalanche at $56.90. And a lot of other dark green, but a mixed market. Overall, up. Be careful. If you have things that are falling in the middle of a bull run, that's a red flag. Now, long-term holders are dropping as well. This is why it's very important when you look at on-chain, you have to take into account the ETFs because they are changing everything. And my theory that I figured out about 4 weeks ago was the fact that long-term holders of Bitcoin that had their Bitcoin in cold storage were nervous about holding it in cold storage. Now they're moving it to the ETFs for safety, so they can put it in a very safe place and leave it to the loved ones, etc., etc. And we see this here on this chart. You can see the long-term holder supply declined by 660,000 Bitcoin. They're not selling, they're putting it into the ETFs. And short-term supply increased by 810,000 Bitcoin. And that's about 150,000 Bitcoin withdrawn from exchanges total net, as per the other chart I just shared as well. Now, we are still in the very early euphoria stage, but shout out to the Glassnode team, there's a long way to go, which is very good. Bitcoin has broken to a new all-time high relative to USD this week, clearing that 72,000 level, also rallying a lot higher. But if we only consider the major breaks above prior cycles highs, this would be the fourth new cycle all-time high in history. And in this edition, you can see here, we're entering into the euphoria zone. Okay, this tends to accompany lots of new all-time highs, lots of blow-off tops and such. And from an on-chain perspective, this moment has historically triggered a shift in investor behavior patterns, particularly balance between hodlers and speculator cohorts. So the speculators have not really arrived yet. ETFs have arrived, but the key thing I want you to see here, this is when the charts break all-time highs and what happens afterwards. You get these monster green runs, okay? The green runs, they look really small on the chart, but believe me, they are not. The average historical time it takes for Bitcoin to double after hitting a new all-time high is 18 days. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it'll be 30 days, but... And if we go from 70 to doubling 140K, it's when you break down all the numbers, it's really unimaginable how high we're going to go. It's going to be a good time. Now, speaking of other records and flippenings, is one big flippening did happen, and I just want to bring attention to this because it's from Bitcoin Pro magazine. You can see here Bitcoin versus silver. Market cap beat it, and now it keeps running away. Bitcoin is now 102.51% the size of the silver market cap and leaving it in the dust pretty quickly. But remember, Bitcoin is going to eat traditional shiny rocks called gold. It's only 9.7% of that market cap, and it's got another 10x to go. All right? 10x from where we are now, call it $70,000 to $700,000. That is where Bitcoin is going. The question is, how long will it take to get there? We'll see. So remember, if you have a bunch of gold in your pocket, flip it to the digital gold. Financial advice right there. Now, oh yeah, by the way, you'll hear all these gold bugs and gold shillers and idiots that don't know what they're doing saying gold is going to smash Bitcoin. It never has. It never will. Okay? Just hard dose of reality. I will not sugarcoat anything for anybody. Now, the 9 new ETFs. Another new record happened. The 9 new ETFs have also just flipped GBTC. The 9 new puppies now hold more than Grayscale. And Grayscale is losing $500 million a day on average some days, which is nuts. And I covered it in this morning's video as well. The amount of Bitcoin that left the system yesterday into these ETFs, 7,000. And that includes the 5,000 or 6,000 dumpage from Grayscale. No, I think it was 7,000 or 8,000 that hit Coinbase today from Grayscale yesterday because of the whole T+1 craziness. I mean, we live in a real-time world, but traditional markets still operate with a 24-hour lag. It's a story for your grandchildren. Now, another new all-time high as well is realized cap. This price is not the only metric as well. You can see here the new realized cap all-time high is now $504 billion. And in March alone, and we're only 12 days into March, added $40 billion. And the realized cap is increasing at a rate of $54 billion a month, approaching levels last seen in early 2021. This highlights how significant the capital inflows have been for Bitcoin, driven in part by the tremendous success and the demand for the new ETF products. Remember, this is an ETF game. This is not lines on a chart. This is money flow from the ETFs. Now, let's talk about the volumes too. I will publish my volume estimate of what I believe this will convert to after this using our volume model. And 87, call it, it's probably 90 million plus right now into IBIT alone. That's more than 20 million higher than yesterday, which means BlackRock will be buying more than $560 million worth of Bitcoin today. It's just fantastic. Fantastic. And actually, let's check on the GBTC volume too. 27.9. It's equivalent to Fidelity. But remember, a lot of the GBTC stuff is still trading, speculating. When stuff goes into Fidelity, it goes there to park. So the conversion ratio for volume for Fidelity is far higher than Grayscale. I'm going to break all that down. I got a whole model for it. For those of you who are interested, a lot of people say, what is the formula? I'll share it later. Okay. I actually did share it on Patreon before, but it does change as the volumes change, as the volatility changes, as the price of Bitcoin changes. It's a dynamic model. All right, let's talk about altcoins for a second. We are now at 61, so it's still not full Bitcoin season, not full alt season, but still many alts are outperforming Bitcoin still. This is what the graphic looks like over the last 90 days, the top 50. And X's, actually, the bottom three for the last 90 days are Cardano. It's not an X this week, it's an A. So ADA, third worst, XRP, second worst, and XMR, the worst, which has been there for quite a while. But remember, this is the performance over the last 90 days. And again, a lot of people, you'll see news like, oh, XRP is pumping. And they'll say, oh, gold is pumping. Gold hits new all-time high. You've got to look at everything in relation to everything else, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at the winners here, crazy memes again. Yeah, I think all Floki and Pepe and Arweave is up there. Good stuff. Fetch and AI play. And this is only the top 50, not all crypto. So let's look at money flow. How many records right now? I can't even count. It's got to be like 5. 5 new records already. Digital asset investment products saw weekly records totaling $2.7 billion, bringing in the total year to date of over nearly $11 billion, which is bonkers. We've already completely smashed 2021, and we're only, 72 days into it. More records, more money, more adoption, more everything. Good for us. From the CryptoCompendium here, you can see the top view of the top last 7 days for the top 50 tokens and the last 30 days for the top 50 tokens. And sometimes my data is a bit different to others, but you'll see some of the common names as well. You can hit pause there and read for yourself. But again, Floki, Rune, Near were the top 3 over the last week. And over the last month, Floki, Pepe, Sheep, all memes over the last 30 days. And on the bottom right for the last 30 days, the losers are Arbitrum, Chainlink, and Celestia. And over the last 7 days, Caspa, ICP, and Shib again, I think. Hard to see. Anyway, it's important to have that perspective. 7 days, 30 days, 3 months, 12 months, 4 years. Get a feel for exactly where things are and where they're going. Now, the breakdown of the money before we talk about black holes. The big winner of the week is Solana, and there was a little bit of weird stuff going around. But a lot of people think, oh, the new Dencun upgrade from Ethereum is going to completely smoke Solana. Ethereum will be back on top. And no, I just kind of debunked that, I hope, for you all. But it has had a solid run. Solana brought in 23.6 million. Remember, Ethereum is a $17 billion asset under management. It lost 2.1 million. Okay, Solana only has $1 billion in it. Hey, Super Soul Man, thank you for coming. Other notable inflows as well were Polkadot, Phantom, Chainlink, Uniswap, seeing 2.7 million, 2 million, 2 million, and 1.6 million respectively. Cardano had 800,000 too. Let's not forget a little bit of money. Again, rising tide floats all boats, but you want to be in the speedboats when it comes to results. Now, daily active users, again from the SCP Profiler, one of our other models as well that aggregates tons of real-time data. You see here the daily active user for Solana is over 1 million, which is double that of Bitcoin and triple that of Ethereum. Aptos is fourth at 163,000. Avalanche fifth, 62,000. Cardano 48,000. Phantom 46,000. It's so funny. Phantom and Cardano are always kind of neck and neck. One peaks the other by 1,000 every time. Algorand 37,000. ICP 5,700. And yeah, so take the so-called Solana killer Sui 16,000 and Say 14,000. Yeah, again, winner takes most, as I keep hammering on this channel. Speaking of that as well, the Blackhole is back. Solana's rising dominance is still there. They just achieved all-time high in daily users, DeFi, NFT volumes, etc. It's smoking everything. But now, for the first time ever in history, Killer Bears is migrating away from ETH to Solana. And this reflects a shift in blockchain gaming, choosing Solana for its advanced infrastructure, low fees, vibrant ecosystem, speed, etc. And mobile gaming innovation, Killer Bears has 50 million app downloads, I think, and it aims to challenge the Apple-Google duopoly alongside Solana Mobile. And the CEO's vision, his name is Ben Cohen with a H, not a W, of Killer Bears, supports disrupting mobile gaming markets, citing high costs imposed by Apple and Google. And choosing Solana will make it much easier for users to experience blockchain gaming. And they also have another game called Killer Cubs. And this is all moving over in about a week's time. I think March 20th. And it's the 12th. So, Sir Winston, thank you for coming. So now, some of the best games will now be on Solana instead of Ethereum. And that's just what happens. What I've been warning of for years. No news there. Now, this one is kind of a little bit out of sequence. Let me put it into sequence because we will be talking about global liquidity. Something's wrong here. Hold on a second. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Let me put it in the right place because I'm going to forget otherwise. But good news is we like when liquidity goes up. All right. Just giving you a sneak preview. And by the way, people always ask, can we get a copy of your slides and recording? Well, you can get a podcast and a copy. It's actually 10 cents a day per edition. I can't remember what it costs a year, but it is a fraction of the cost of any other Substack, but you get a hell of a lot more. And I know because I subscribe to about 30 Substacks. Stock market for the week, last 7 days in US dollar terms, mostly green, a little bit of red across some of the healthcare plays. Microsoft up 3%, Apple 2%, Nvidia. All right. Oh, I lost my voice there. Nvidia up another 6%. That's just the beast that doesn't want to quit. Amazon 1%, Tesla basically 1% down. Walmart and Costco mixed. Walmart doing well. That's my other recession indicator. When they do really well, it means everybody's shopping at the cheapest stores. Now, let's look at Bitcoin Nasdaq correlation. Very, very important. We like them to be uncorrelated, but normally they are correlated. But you can see here, Bitcoin over the last 90 days up 46%. Nasdaq up 14.94%. Again, Bitcoin's running away, and it's only just begun to. Now, a little bit of breaking news too. A thing called Toncoin, which I've been watching actually for the last year. It's basically, there's a messaging app, Telegram, is gaining steam, and the founder, CEO Pavel Durov, says the company is considering an IPO. And they revealed this apparently triggered a huge surge in the open network Toncoin. The Open Network began life in 2017 as the Telegram Open Network. That's what TON stands for. And the company dropped the project in 2020 after the US SEC took issue with their ICO. But the project has carried on independently. And now Telegram is increasingly using its integration with the chain. And this has really jumped a lot. We'll look at the chart in a second. Quick reminder of Telegram. By the way, I'm not on Telegram, so any scammers must know that. And it apparently is a bit of a scammer hotbed. But they do have 900 million monthly active users, which is massive. Again, very, very big here, everybody. Massive growth. Nearly 1 billion monthly active users. That's crazy. Was a 1 in 8 people on the planet. Let's look at the TON chart real quick on the ATR model. Give us perspective. That's where it started at the beginning. It's funny, it started in the bear. The red shadow is the bear market. That's not a good time to launch a coin. So no wonder they got hit. But ever since then, it's been going up and to the right. It just keeps on breaking new highs right now, especially after the big pump today. And we're building a new level 6. And that's Toncoin. Very active volume trader for those who are traders out there. Now, a little bit of macro as well, because this also drives where the crypto is going. Target rate probabilities for 12th of June 2024. The good news is 13% chance of a 50 basis point cut. If that happens, the market will go bombastic, everybody. But a 57.2% chance of a 25 basis point cut. They'll probably start slow and ease into it, unless, of course, there's a big crisis. And in terms of the stuff I've been talking about as well, I do believe the second half of this year will be MoonTime, because liquidity is going to explode and rates are going to cut, and it's going to be a great time to be in risk assets. You think you've seen action yet? It's going to get a lot better, okay? And recession, be damned, okay? The data from governments doesn't matter anyway. As I say, by the time you know you're in a recession, the market's already way out of it. And speaking of liquidity, this is the global liquidity, and it's very hard to see the little tail on the right, but I zoomed into it and expanded this from the Rational Root Bitcoin strategy platform. And you can see that little blue tick up there to the right. That is $500 billion. Okay? Mind blowing. $500 billion in liquidity was added last week globally. $500 billion. And that's not a nothing burger. It looks like a nothing burger on the chart here, but that's a huge amount in a week. And backed up by Julian Trimmer at Fidelity, the question is, Fed pivot or not? Liquidity is on the rise again, which he spotted too today. And overall liquidity as defined by the Fed's balance sheet, less reserve repos, which is the RRPs, less the treasury cash balance at the Fed, has been rising since mid-2023, taking stocks with it. You don't see it in M2, but money is being pumped into the system, into all the different programs, stealth liquidity as I call it, everywhere, BTFP, etc. Now the BTFP is ending, I think yesterday or today, and now you're going to see a lot of RRP action as well, the reverse repo stuff. Anyhow, with that, everybody, it's the end of the show. We covered 60 nuggets. Thank you all for coming. Hope you enjoyed it, got something from it. Hit the like if you learned something new. And thank you as well to the mods in the chat and everybody that came out today. And I'll see you all tomorrow, early morning for the Bitcoin Daily, followed by a surprise, which should be good. Hopefully it'll be a surprise. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.